Good evening, everyone. We'll kick off the Westferry update for September. So thanks for joining us. As always, the main purpose of these things is to give you the chance to ask questions about how the fund's gone. The monthly report goes up on the website by the 3rd of each month, as it did in this case. And from that, you would have seen that our fund was up 2.2% in September, and that was the fifth straight month of positive returns. And you'll see that our 1 year return has reached 11.9%, which is a respectable enough figure. The market is in a bullish state, continues to be in a bullish state. And as I think I've said many times before, we are not going to keep up often with the market when it's in a particularly bullish state, although we're managing to stay just ahead of the ASX 200 total return index for the last 12 months, but are behind the small ordinaries. But look, when the market falls 10 or 15% as opposed to going up, I'd like to think we would massively outperform. And that's where we get our longer term outperformance. So we're keeping up with the market at the moment, notwithstanding that you'll see that we've got 15% in cash. That's actually increased to around 17 to 18% cash post the end of the month. Partly that's arisen from two large unlisted investments being cashed in over the last 2 months, and it not being an obvious environment for that money to simply be channeled into the equities market. There will be opportunities that arise, I think, over the next couple of months. The focus, September's a reasonably quiet month on the news front. Later in October and through November, we move into AGM season, and it's there you'll start to see some interesting news flow and some new opportunities. So during the month, there was no massive underperformer or outperformer. Harmoney Corp, which I spoke about a couple of months ago, has been so I'm just double checking that I've let everyone in. Apologies for those who may not have come in. I've had kicked off already, and we were just outlining the details on the monthly report, which has been up on the website for about a week now, up 2.2% for the month, up 11.9% for the year, and pointing to the largest sort of contributors and detractors for the month. You'll see there that Harmoney Corp was our largest contributor. It was up as it was in August. I think it was our second best performer in August, on the back of quite a good result at the full year and a good outlook. I actually mentioned that in the July report. If you go back to the video report for July, where I said we took that initial position in Harmoney, and outlined the rationale for that there. IPH again was a bit of an overhang from it being probably the only disappointing result we had in report season. Our position has lowered over the course of the month in IPH, but look, it's still one where it's sufficiently cheap that we might see a turnaround over the course of the next 12 months. It remains a reasonable quality business, although with a bit more leverage than you would like. And amongst large cap stocks, certainly it's the largest cap stock that we have. It is cheap by traditional metrics. Often that can be a value trap, can be cheap for a reason. Look, in this case, it's an industry that is cyclical in terms of for those who don't know, it's a company that is an intellectual property law company, and has large operations in Canada, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Australia. There's some reasons in terms of the cyclicality of the markets it operates in, where the stock market that is, can be a bit negative when there's a short term or a 3 month sort of downturn in patent filings in a particular market. And I think it's worth, given its cheap price, hanging in there on that stock, which we will. Motorcycle Holdings was just a slight pullback after several months of really good growth. So, as I say, that was another positive month. We are going okay so far in October. The rest of October is heavy on admin. I'll be going through the process of finalising our accounts and then going through the process of our AFSL audit later in the month. In the next 2 to 2.5 weeks, I will distribute statements to all investors, setting out the breakup of your FY25 distribution, and I'll also be processing the payment of that distribution. Don't worry about having to do anything now. I'll send out an email to ask those who want to take cash for that distribution to let me know. Otherwise, it will be reinvested at a price that I'll nominate in that email. So it's a distribution that's 3.7 cents, and then there'll be about 1 cent per unit in tax credits that go with that as well. So that's the best estimate at this stage. But once the accounts come in, we'll get the exact numbers. So look, big picture, we remain fairly conservatively positioned. As I say, if the market does get a large pullback, that will not worry me at all. We'll massively outperform if that's the case, and there'll be more opportunities to deploy our cash. If the market does keep going up really strongly, then we'll try to keep up as best we can and do reasonably well. The upshot is that I don't really tend to look at what the market's doing. We're very focused on individual companies. A lot of my time through the last month was spent dealing with obviously being on the board of AF Legal, so dealing with the board and management at AF Legal, and also having a lot of interaction with the board at Connection Mobility. They're our two largest listed holdings. I think I'm very happy with our positions there, and there'll be further news flow from those companies before the end of the year. In AFL's case, there'll be a quarterly update, as there always is in November, as well as the AGM. And there's no reason to think that our investments in those two companies are problematic at all. And indeed, I'm very excited about what might happen with those in the next 6 months. So that's where we are at the moment. As I say, please throw through any questions you have either now or in email for the next video, and I'll aim to update on those. The other major companies were otherwise reasonably quiet during the period. And so there's not that much more to update. In the next monthly report, we'll see. Probably I might do it in December, actually. So I'm keen to get the CEO of AF Legal, Chris McFadden, along to speak to one of these monthly reports for Westferry. The next one of these in early November will probably happen just a little bit early. The AF Legal will probably put out a update on first quarter results in early November, and that will be followed by the AGM on the 27th of November. So it might be a good chance to get him on in the the second Thursday in December. Notwithstanding that's a bit of a quiet time of the year, but that's the sort of focus for the next month. So look, thanks very much. There's no questions there at the moment. I'll post this to the website, and please pass through any questions you do have, and I can answer them next time. Cheers.